Boom, cool. So, Juicing Ninja Chuck and C, episode 3. We have big bad Mike Catris. How's it going, man?
Yeah, good, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, dude. Good. So pretty much, if we look at anyone that follows you on Instagram, they all know that you're training away and you're sweet, and COVID's ruined the world. So we'll try and keep it positive and avoid that. It'll probably pop up at some point, but
yeah, it's actually it's not happening.
Yeah,
ignore it. It'll go away.
What I want to dive into is so last year, I'm confused with years and stuff, but sanctionals, pretty much the kings and queens of the sanctional world at the minute.
The bridesmaids.
The bridesmaids. We had strength and depth. The order's probably wrong. Filthy 158 Pandaland and then Norway.
Yeah,
that's the right.
You got it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we did strength and depth was actually the 2019 season, but it was in 2019, and then Filthy 150 was in 2019, but it was the 2020 season. Same with Pandaland, and then the last one was Norwegian CrossFit Championships.
When your body was trying to kill you.
Yeah, pneumonia. Yeah. Well, actually, fucking hell, you think about it, it might not have been pneumonia.
Well, yeah. They didn't know at the time. We're it's
Been to China, check.
Christ, maybe you started this.
Yeah, we've had this discussion. Do you know what? I think I might actually be patient zero.
Patient zero, you brought it back.
I'm like the outbreak monkey.
Yeah. So with obviously as you've gone through those different things, you've had yourself and Charlotte are the main two that've been.
Yeah, so we've been in every team. Yeah.
And then we've
in the first one we had Big Ali McKinnon, and Emily Dwyer. Emily was only ever going to do one with us. It was her plan was always to go individual, and that was her sort of route. It was something that she wanted to do for the experience, and we needed a fourth Sid, but that was never going to be the sort of squad going forward. The plan was that we were going to try and stick to a 4, but it's easier said than done with the way things go. And so our original squad, our original team of myself, Ali, Charlotte Spence, and Hannah Venemir, who's one of the girls that I coach from Norway, been to the games before on a team, solid athlete, strong as an ox. But the biggest thing for me was just picking the right people, the right sort of people that had the right mentality, people that were easy to get along with, people that you could take direction and all that other good stuff. So that was the team that we took into Filthy 150 and did pretty well with. The plan was to have the same team to then go to China with, but unfortunately Ali had some business commitments. They just bought their unit, and it just wasn't the right time for him. He needed to get himself right, and I was life comes first for these sort of things. And I was really lucky. I was scrambling around because I'd got us tickets, I'd got the lot, and I was like, fuck. So I checked through my phone book, and Stuart Trees was on there. I was like, am I fuck taking him? So I was like, anybody but him. So I was like, I had a little look through, and I dropped Alec Harwood a call, and I dropped him a message first, and he was like, who's this? And I was like, you cheeky bastard. So I was like, do you fancy coming to China? And he was like, huh? I was like, we got a place in this competition. It's in 2 weeks. Do you fancy it? And he's like, mate, all I'm doing at the moment is functional bodybuilding. I'm just trying to look swole and sexy, and I don't really give a shit about CrossFit at the moment. I was like, mate, you're still gonna be fucking fitter than me. Just come. It'd be a good crack. And for whatever reason, he decided, let's go for it. And the rest was history. So we jumped on a flight, went to Pandaland, and came up one place short again. But that's him sort of in the squad now, and it's a pretty good recruit, to be fair.
Yeah, that's cool. So that pretty much goes into our next thing. How do you go about picking a team? Obviously, is it, do you have people in mind, or?
Yeah, I think to be honest, it's all about the girls, right? I mean, the guys as they can lose you a comp, but they rarely win you a comp. As long as they're good enough, and they tick all the boxes and they can do everything, they haven't got any big holes, big weaknesses. The most important thing with the guys is the mentality, holding everything together, being able to adapt on the fly, being able to take direction, being able to, put up with the shit when it hits the fan, really. And then it's a matter of getting the best athletes, yes, but from my point of view, it's the best people. It's especially for teams. It's so different to individuals in terms of like the best team athletes aren't the best individual athletes, and vice versa. You can be good at both, but there's some people that are very, very good individual athletes that would struggle like hell on teams, and there's some very, very good team athletes that would struggle on individual. I'm probably an example of that. I'm a decent individual athlete, but probably nothing more than that. But I'm a good. I like to think
team,
a good athlete.
Well, the results are there, 100%. Yeah, that's cool. So, like with that, do you get? Obviously, there's never been we're looking for a girl or we're looking for a guy post or anything like that. But do you get people coming to you to kind of put themselves in like a shop window type thing, or?
Yeah, not really. I've had a couple of messages, more so since the success side of things, I guess, since doing well at competitions. I mean, Christ, we went to Sid, nobody knew who we were. We went to Filthy 150 and everyone wrote us off. And even when we were in first place for the first 2 days, everyone was like, "Oh, who the hell are these guys?" So it's not like anybody was like clambering to be on our team at that point. It was for me. I coached Charlotte. I coached Hannah. I coached Ali or helped Ali a lot. I haven't coached Alec, but we are good mates and keep in touch a lot. And I sort of help him out with training and stuff as well. So they're all people that, with Alec more so, that I've competed against. And we've always said we wanted to be on a team together. We just never got around to it. Because I think that our sort of skills and stuff sort of supplement each other quite well. And I think in terms of picking the team, for me, like there's a blueprint in my head that you need to complement each other. So like I said, the guys, they need to be all rounders. They can't really have any real weaknesses, but if one of them is a strong athlete, then the other one needs to be slightly fitter. If one of them is better at gymnastics, the other one's got to be better with a barbell. And they need to pick up the slack for each other, or be able to pick up the slack for each other, which is interesting because with Ali McKinnon, he was the fit guy that was, a better runner, better on the ergs, better at that side of things. And I had to take up the slack more on the, certainly on the barbell and the lifting side. I was more like the strong athlete between us two. And we both had our strengths and weaknesses with gymnastics. He's probably better at muscle ups and I was probably better at toes to bar and chest to bar or whatever.
Yeah, cool.
But we were like, that's how we sort of compared. And then since Alec has come in, Alec Harwood's come in, he's probably the strong athlete. So I've actually changed my training, changed my focus to now I need to be fitter. I need to be the fitter of the two of us. And, if I'm the weaker of the two of us, then that's good. That's a nice position to be in. But I need to work on the more aerobic stuff. And I know, for instance, in Pandaland, one of the events was, rowing and heavy wall balls and burpees. And because he hasn't done as much stuff for the last year or so, and he was looking at me and I was waiting for him on burpees and he was like, fuck, what's gone on here? So I was like, but he's still a mega fit dude. It's just like how you fix that. And it's the same with the girls. So, Charlotte is just a workhorse that is just like so fit, so mentally strong. But she's not the strongest. She's strong, more than strong enough, and she's not the best gymnast, but she's more than good enough. So when we looked at making that work, for me, Hannah was a really good foil for that because she's mega strong with a barbell. So she almost makes the average of those two girls stronger. She's really, really good at ring and bar muscle ups, which are probably the weaker movements for Charlotte, and they're both good at everything else. But Charlotte was the fitter, more aerobically fit athlete. So they combined nicely from a strengths and weaknesses point of view. But like I said, I mean, that more important to that for me is gelling as a unit and making sure that the personalities work.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool that you can adapt to pretty much who you have on your team. That's interesting.
I think it's important. You need to know that. Like, you need to. Not many people think about it that way, maybe, and it's like then or not necessarily willing to change like how they train or who they are when they fit into that group. Like for me, I don't care what I look like. Like, you see me crossing the fucking finish line at Filthy 150 and I was like hanging and looked like somebody just tasered me or
That was
whatever.
great.
Like
That was
that doesn't
That was
bother me.
class.
Like, it's like,
Yeah.
we win the event. I don't care if I'm
Just
crippled
done.
doing it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I need to pick up some slack and work on some stuff that I'm not good at, then that makes us a better team, then that's cool.
Yeah,
And Maddie Harris, who's now stepping in to be our second girl for next year, we just think from the logistical point of view, we'll be able to train together a little bit more, is exactly that. She fits really, really well with Charlotte, but more importantly, they're good friends. They get on well.
That's cool.
It's just none of the shit that can creep up.
Yeah. No, that's cool. Do you program for Maddie? Is she one of your?
Yeah, Maddie's one of mine as well. Yeah, so that's how it's worked for me. Really,
just
is
like
obviously I'm lucky that I get to program for some of these great athletes, and it's I know exactly what they can and can't do, and it's like I'm programming stuff for Maddie now to be a team athlete next year at the games, and I'm making her stronger. And I'm like, right, you need to be the strong one of these girls. I'm making you stronger. Cool. Char, you need to keep doing what you're doing and work on these weaknesses here and here. And if you keep doing that, and if she keeps doing that, then we're going to be a better team because of it.
Sweet, yeah. How do people react to getting a call from Billy Butcher asking her to be on their team?
It is a funny one. So, like, Hannah couldn't do Norway with us because it was the one that she said she couldn't do with us because she is Norwegian. She had sponsors that were looking to put a team together for that competition, and obviously it's a local comp for her.
Yeah.
And we were real lucky in that, I've done some stuff with Lucas Parker in the past, and I was sort of darting around for somebody that would fit that mold for us, and he just said, have you tried Caroline Prevost? And I was like, I've never met her, I don't know her, but I knew she was on a team with Mayhem last year, and Carl, who runs the athlete program, dropped her a message, and she was just mega keen to get out there and have a good experience, and she was amazing. She fitted in really nicely into that mold, and that was cool. That was great to have somebody with games experience, somebody that had experience with Mayhem and training with Rich and all that other stuff, and learning from them as well, and had some cool insights. But Maddie was out in Norway as well as an individual, and Maddie did Sid as an individual. Maddie did she did another one as an individual. French Throwdown last year as an individual as well, and Sid last year as an individual. So she's got 4 or 5 sanctionals under her belt as an individual, and every time she's getting better. Like, something that we're focusing on was building those weaknesses so that she was able to knock, not necessarily worrying about knocking stuff out of the park, but never coming below 20th in a workout or whatever it was, and making her more and more and more well-rounded. And we got to that stage, and then it was a case of now what we need to do is find your niche of your 2 or 3 things that you're going to fucking home run hit whenever they come out and they get programmed. And we started edging towards that in Norway. And she had 2 really, really high finishes in Norway, like top 5 finishes in Norway in a stacked field. And that, to me, just sort of thought, she's got it. She's an ex swimmer. She's done triathlon, so she's got that long engine. She runs well. She swims well. She ticks those. She hasn't got those weaknesses that lots of good CrossFitters have. But also she's got it between the ears, and she's a lovely girl. And the following maybe 2 weeks from that, we had the European Championships. When I had pneumonia, I had to pull out, so I focused purely on coaching Maddie and Charlotte. And they took first and second. Yeah. And it was like, not only that, the events that Charlotte won, Maddie came 3rd or 4th or whatever it was. And then the ones that Maddie won, Charlotte came. I was like, this just works. Yeah, this is right.
You kind of know what you're doing, eh?
Don't tell anyone, they'll all be fucking on the phone.
So we've got like this not an ongoing joke, but it's either we're the problem, but anytime we go to a competition, obviously we're at like local sort of level, or like down southwise. But anytime we're at like an athlete briefing, there's always some plum that asks like some ridiculous question based on like, okay, you've got, I don't know, let's take Carol's 7 minutes bar of burpees. And someone will turn around like, cool, any questions? Does my chest have to touch the floor on a burpee? Like, well, how did you get this far? And now you're asking these questions. But like, does that happen at your guys' level? At those?
Yeah. You know what? Like, it fucking does. Like, do you know what the worst one for it is? fucking Sean Sweeney, like games level athlete, right? At Filthy 150. And if you get the chance to tag him in this or whatever, I'm calling him out, right?
Yeah.
At Filthy 150, that guy asked about 80 fucking questions for every workout, to the point where I nearly asked, like, we had to sit through it at the team briefing, and he was obviously in the individual stuff.
Yeah.
And to the point where he asked a question, like, I nearly asked a question at the end, just like, yeah, has Sean got any more questions? Because it was like, the guy's asking all these, and you could tell he was gutted about it as well, because it was like cold in this like little room, and we were asking all these questions. He's like, oh, son of a bitch, I'm going to have to be that guy, but I need to ask this question, and I need to ask that question. It was like, you know, fucking, how heavy's the rower? Nobody knows. Like, shit, you know what I mean? Like,
how heavy's a rower?
So yeah, it does happen. And like, you know, even at regional level and stuff like that back in the day, yeah, you do get some fucking some random questions, and you just like, really? Like, okay, cool. Like, I never want to be that guy, but like, when me, Stu Trees, and Barry Mayers and everything, we all competed one year together against each other at Rainhill Trials.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like 5 or 6 of us, like proper like mates and OGs sort of thing. And we thought, fuck it, we're going to wind up Fozzie. And every time he did a briefing, we all asked the most stupid questions we could think of. And like, that was one of the things, was like, there's like a rowing workout, and I was like, asked questions like, yeah, Mike, was it like, how deep's the water? And like, and it had box jumps in it, and Barry was like, how heavy's the box? And he was just like, fuck this, and just walked off during the briefing.
Forget it.
Yeah.
Which out of the 4 you've been to have you preferred? Like, which was the best experience, I suppose?
As a sanctional?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? They were all...
Does Norway
really
look cool?
Yeah, like, for different reasons, they were all so good. I think, like, Ollie runs an amazing competition with with strength in depth, and because he's been there as an athlete back in the regional days. He's seen how it runs, and like, from an athlete experience side of things, like even things down to like the warm up area, the appeals process and everything was really, really slick and really well managed there. But Filthy 150 is probably the best CrossFit competition I've ever been involved with from a programming point of view. The workouts were really cool, like different, really well thought out, certainly from a team point of view. Just like they developed from a team competition, and you could see that. Like, the workouts were amazing. China was just the most fucking mental place I've ever been in my entire life. Berserk. The competition was like nowhere near the other 3 in terms of like but it was their first one, and you could see that, and they were really open to like learning and adapting, and I'm sure it'll be better.
That's cool
as well. And Norway, like, the venue and the setting was just so phenomenal. Like, running up that ski slope is something I'll never ever forget. So like, they've all got really good things like going for them for different ways, really. They were all really cool individual experiences, but as the best, I'd say the best CrossFit competition I've ever done was Filthy 150.
No, cool.
Yeah, that strict press event looked quite good. I like that.
Fucking, I saw my arse on that because I'm really big bollocks, thinking, I'm really good at strict press. And to the point where, like, when we're warming up and I'm going to Ali, is like, he's not got the best strict press. I'm like, don't worry, mate, I've got this. And I got there to the end, and I'm like 60 kilo strict presses. I'm like, fucking look like fucking some sort of ape, like trying to get one arm moving and the other one not moving. And like, you got Hannah or Charlotte, whoever was like opposite me, just like, come on.
Are you okay? Like, what's happening? Right? Come on, then.
And I'm like twitching and dribbling. I was like, I made a right tit out of myself then.
Class.
How was like the vibe or like the atmosphere at a sort of higher level competition compared to like maybe some smaller ones you've done? Is it the same? Is there still that banter backstage, or is there a bit more?
Yeah, it depends. Like, I think it's the same at every level in terms of like, you know, I've when I was first starting out, I'd go to competitions and like, so like I qualified one year for the European Champs really low down because I was like in Hawaii for the qualifiers and for my mate's wedding, and I had to go do like one of the qualifiers after his stag do in somebody's front room or something. And I was like hanging out my hoop, and I literally just qualified like 80 something out of 90 athletes, and I was warming up with obviously like the lowest heat. And there's guys that are like, you know, they're fighting for 80th place in this competition, taking it so fucking seriously. And I'm like, what? What, like, you are? And like, I don't think it really matters where you're at. Like there's those people at every level.
Yeah.
You know, there's some of these top athletes are mega serious, take it, you know, can't have a laugh and a joke and need their own space and whatever. And then there's people like, you know, Khan Porter's a really good example, who's like become quite a good mate of mine. We're laughing and joking and having banter literally up until 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah.
And then it's like bang.
Yeah,
bang.
you switch it on.
And we spoke about it actually on our podcast. So Khan's coming on, I think we're releasing the episode on Monday. And it's one of the things we talked about in depth quite a bit. And it's how that's actually a competitive advantage for him, is that what he's doing is taking the pressure off himself so that he can perform better, because it's how he deals with his nerves. And different people deal with stuff in different ways, but I've always been like, you've seen me, right? I've always been like laughing, joking, have a bit of banter, and then right the way up until 3, 2, 1, go, and then it's like, right, okay, now we're in. Like happy days, and I could switch that on and off, and I think that's just come from years of competitive sport, I guess. You know?
Saves burning yourself out before you
start.
Yeah,
there are people like that. There's people like having laughs and jokes right at the top level, and there's people that take it mega serious right at the top level, and there's people in between. You know, like Lucas Parker and Khan Porter are like poles apart.
Okay, yeah.
One is like Lucas Parker starts warming up the day before an event, you know, and he's like fucking like getting his shit together like fucking like so long before people, and he wants to hit like 86 singles at his opening weight before he, you know, goes out there and all that sort of stuff. And Khan Porter's a lot more relaxed, a lot more laughing and joking. It's like, so I don't think it's determined by the level you're at. I think it's
just
on the person.
Yeah, that's cool. Sweet. So obviously you've got you're coaching all these different guys. You've got one going to the games still now, right? After all the changes.
Yeah, Tyler's still going to the games. Yeah.
So how many was there originally? Sorry.
Oh, do you know what? I think it was. You put him on a spot now. 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, so Tyler's still going. Having come 9th in the Open, which is fucking legit. And he competed at Mayhem Classic. So he's got a little bit of experience, but he's been to the games before on a team, but never as an individual. So, you know, he's a legit athlete.
Yeah, cool. So like with that especially, and obviously coaching all your other guys, because you've got about 1 million different athletes. That and like all the programming you do for the athlete program and the training that you need to do for yourself. Maybe not right now because you've got a bit more time, maybe. But normally, how do you time manage? Like, how do you manage all those different spin?
It's for me. It's about just trying to be as organised as possible, and it didn't always work. It was hard, and that's part of the reason that I sold the box. You know, back in January, I sold my shares in Ion, which was something that me and Rob built, and I'm really proud of as a great gym. But it was something I had to give because I was spread so thin, and it was a matter of with the nutrition company, with Kratos, with the athlete program as a general program for the masses, and then from the individual programming point of view, and wanting to maybe still cling on by my fingernails and do a bit of competing as well. You know, something had to give there, and the most time was dedicated to Ion. You know, I was having some weeks that I was spending sort of 40, 50, 60 hours in that gym. And it's like, so at what stage do you turn around and realize that actually I'd rather have, you know, some time to give to these other pieces of the puzzle, and yeah, that's what ended up happening.
Yeah, cool. Sweet. So you touched on your nutrition company, Kratos. We'll start with why. Like, why did we get into this? Why did you decide to start?
Yeah, it's a funny one. So I always wanted to be a doctor, right? So growing up, I did my A levels, planning on being a doctor. Did biology, physics, chemistry, maths, and I got accepted to do medicine. And it was something I went and did a week of it, and I fucking hated it. And I was just like, and it was one of those things where like I had a person on my left and a person on my right, and the one on the right was like the brightest person I've ever fucking spoken to in my life, and the person on the left was obviously somebody that wasn't bright but worked really hard just to pass exams, but was like, you know, didn't know a left from a right sort of thing. And I was like, hang on, all three of us, I was somewhere in between, all three of us are getting taught to treat people the same way, and I was like, you know, if it doesn't matter if you coming in and you're dying of fucking coronavirus, and you see him or you see me or you see her, we're all going to treat you exactly the same. It doesn't matter that she's thick as two short planks and he's the brightest person in the room. Like, there's no such thing as a good doctor. And that for me fried my head. And I was just like, oh, fuck this, I don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to spend 7 years of my life to just do exactly what everybody else in this room would do. So I did the noble thing, and I stepped out and I went to UIC, which is now Cardiff Met, and I played rugby for 3 years and got fucking smashed. And I did a business degree because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was stressed, and I was like, you know what, that's a general degree that I can learn a lot from as I go. And I was playing rugby at the time, playing semi-professional rugby at the time. Had a contract, and I was like, cool, I'll just stay here and drink some beers and do what people do when they're in uni. And I was lucky enough in my first year to play for the first and the seconds, which is quite a rare thing at UIC because it's like one of the better rugby universities in the country. And we had this excellence training group that trained on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings at like 7 a.m, like strength and conditioning stuff, proper hardcore with our old S&C coach, a guy called Di Watts, and he used to just absolutely hammer us. And we'd line up and we'd take this protein as the recovery shake at the end of every session. But he wanted us to go off and buy our own protein and look after our nutrition. And I was like, mate, you know, these are guys that are drinking 30 pints a week. They're, you know, we're eating pasta and tuna and fucking, you know, cheese on toast because it's cheap.
It's cheap,
we don't give a shit about like all this other stuff. And you're asking us to spend, you know, 50, 60, 100 quid or whatever on supplements. It's just not realistic. So I was a PT before I joined uni, and it's something I just did for pocket money. I did a nutrition diploma while I was in uni because I still enjoyed that side of things. And I thought there's got to be a better way. So I just tried, I went on Google and I had a look for a supplement manufacturer, like the factory. And I was like, cool, I want to just go and buy some basic protein off the shelf with no middleman. So I'm not paying Maximuscle, I'm not paying Optimum Nutrition, I'm not paying any of that sort of shit. Like, no, there's no markups along the way. I'm just going to buy it in bulk from you, and I'm going to sell it to the rugby boys so that they can afford to have some protein, and I can afford to have some beer. And that's how Kratos Nutrition started.
Cool.
So it started as a basic protein off the shelf, and it sort of developed from there. We had a range of mass gainers and all that other good stuff, but it was very generic. It was nothing special. It was just sort of me selling to the boys, and it sort of grew a little bit from there. And I finished uni and played some rugby, and just it ticked over in the background. And then I had to retire from rugby. I had a double eye socket fracture, which was my third or fourth concussion that season, like a real bad one. And back then they didn't have the protocols they have now, right? So like I remember clashing heads with this guy, and he nearly died. He swallowed his tongue on the field. He was like, you know, paramedic's job. And I got up and carried on playing, and I thought, fuck, I've come off better here. And the next day I looked like Quasimodo. My whole face was like fucking like Rocky Balboa, like cut me, Mick. And but I was out cold when the collision happened. And just got up and carried on playing, and it was like, you know, how many fingers am I holding up? 3. Cool, off you go. And then I went to go see a neurologist and had a CAT scan and all that other stuff, and they were like, I think you need to can this. You've had a couple of
ones,
so I got a little bit of money, a little insurance payout, and I decided that I wanted to plow it into the nutrition, and that's when I first started doing a lot more R&D and a lot more bespoke products and development rather than just doing what everyone else was doing.
That's cool.
And at that time I started CrossFit, so I was training in a CrossFit gym for rugby but not CrossFitting. And I was around it, and I slipped straight into it as wanted to be a competitor rather than just going in and doing classes. I need that competitive edge that I've now lost from years of playing rugby, and that filled that void. And it made sense to sort of direct the products down that route that I was in, you know?
Yeah, that's cool. Pieces fall into place. That's sweet.
It was, completely, yeah.
Imagine going in for a physical and fucking Mike comes out of the room. That's like when you go to the chiropractor and Big Joff comes out, and you're like, oh no, I'm in trouble here. Cool. So we've got. Yeah.
Fuck.
So you've got your podcast that's just started. That's cool. You mentioned that with Karen. You've got Alec and stuff on it. That's sweet. What's next? What's next for Kratos? We got product or what different?
Yeah, so I'm in the process of, or I have been in the process of developing some new products. It's gone a bit slow because of all the situation we're in, obviously.
Yeah.
But actually, it's ticking over quite nicely now, and we're in final stages for a whey protein that I've developed, which is going to be really nice. It's taken a while to get the flavoring right on it because it's got a little bit more than just protein in it. So it's got some probiotics and some glutamine and some little mineral complexes and a couple of little bits that are just going to help with absorption and stuff like that, which a lot of proteins don't have because they're not the best tasting. And I've always put the performance over everything else in terms of the product. So everything, like my pre-workout on my ZM, like if any you've had my ZMs, it smells proper bad, right? That's because of all the active ingredients in there, and it's like people don't put that stuff in there because it's expensive and because or they don't know about it, and it's the smell or whatever, but actually it's the best stuff. And that's what I've tried to do with the protein as well. So it's taken a while to get the flavor systems right on it, but I'm really, really happy with it. It tastes good. So that's taken a while. We've got an omega-3 coming out and a vitamin D3 coming out as well. So they're the next products that are going to come through to go with the recovery, the pre-workout and the zinc and magnesium. The podcast is going and we're really, really enjoying that, and that's something that I want to keep going and keep going strong. So we've been lucky enough with some of the connections that I've got to have some cool guests on there.
I was going to say, how did you meet Can Porter?
At Pandaland.
Oh yeah.
Actually, no, that's a lie. I met him at the games last year, and then we caught up at Pandaland. We didn't really speak much at the games. We met, just like how's it going, sort of thing. And we got on really, really well at Pandaland. Just had a laugh and a joke. And and since then we've been like sliding into each other's DMs and been pretty friendly ever since. And he's a top guy. We're very similar in the mentality. He's got some really cool insights into sort of mental health and all that sort of stuff. He's just a good guy. But yeah, we've been lucky. Alec obviously being a good mate of mine was on for the first 2 episodes, but he's such a good character, and he knows his shit, right? And to talk to him about mindset and around the current situation, to talk to him about the games. We had Scott Britton on talking about battle cancer, which was really, really cool. And like that guy's doing so much good in the world. It's like unreal. So that was something that was, again, that I met him through sanctionals at Filthy 150 in Norway. And so that was cool. And we've kept in touch since then. We've Elliot Simmons, my old training partner. I trained together with Elliot for a year or 2 before he moved on to bigger and better things and left me in the doldrums. I'm like the stepping stone in CrossFit. We had Zach George on, so he's coming on his episode's the one after Khan Porter.
Cool. That's cool.
And we've got a couple of good ones. Tommy Marquez is coming on.
I think
he's a guy that me and Alec got on really well with in Pandaland. we went out and did karaoke after the event and got absolutely shit faced with him and Justin
nice.
And that was a really good night. So it's just people that we met, and like it's the same as I know you guys. Like I think it's important that everybody's like. I was going to sound such a shit soundbite, but everybody's people. We're all people. Like we're like there's we've all got mates. We've all got fucking mums and dads. We've all got fucking shit going on at home, and we've all got stresses. And it doesn't matter how good you are at fucking PE. Like, don't be a cunt. And if you get on well with people, then get on well with them and be friendly. Like it's one of the big things that. Stuart Trees, as much as I rag him out, like he's a fucking great bloke, and we've done so many competitions together. Not necessarily because we were the best team, but because we're fucking good mates.
Just
and we
have
enjoy
fun.
It. And then we tend to do well because of that.
No, I can see that, like, because that's like me and him. Like, I'm probably like, he fucking just drags me along like a like a fucking chain. attached to his legs, but we just like it works well because we're good mates. Like,
and you'll put yourself in the pit for each other.
yeah,
right?
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
Me, I'm much more likely to bury myself for fucking stew than I am for some amazing CrossFitter that I've never met before that I don't get on with and who fucking thinks his shit don't.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, 100%.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Talk us through because I remember way back when there was the MoveFit program.
Yeah.
Talk us through the change from MoveFit to the athlete program, because that must have went from.
It is that. Basically, it's a really funny one. So, MoveFit was like, it was always a joke. Like, my nickname when I was playing rugby was Moo because I used to drink 2 liters of gold top milk a day. Like, it's like 1,800 calories of milk a day. I was speaking to Carl Saville about it the other day, actually, because he put a day up where he ate 5,000 calories on his Instagram. And I was like, yeah, that's cute. I used to eat 6,500 every day, like every single day. It was like fucking a full-time job. So that's why my nickname was Moo. And then when I first started getting into CrossFit, like I said, I didn't do the sort of natural progression thing. I went in there to compete. So I programmed, I found a coach first and foremost, who was a guy called Mike Fitzgerald, OPT, James Fitzgerald, who won the games in 2007, who was OPEX, his brother. Learned so much from that guy. What a switched on dude. And learned a lot about programming from him. And then I started programming for myself. And that was MoveFit. That's how that became a thing. And a couple of other people that trained in the box decided to jump on that and do that with me. Then I started programming for Stu Trees, and he got all of his competitors from up in his box at the time in Leeds, all came on it. So we've had a few good ones. You know, Elliot Simmons has been a MoveFit athlete, and
that's cool.
Lauren Stallwood, who's with Elliot now out in this in Dubai. You know, she was a MoveFit athlete. You know, Shelley McCoy was a MoveFit athlete. That's, you know, we've had some a couple there, and we went to European Championships in. It wasn't the year I won it. It was the year after. Sorry, just dropping that in there. Is the year after. So it would have been 2016, and I had maybe 4 or 5 athletes there, and we all made the finals, or we all made the semi-finals, made like the second cuts or whatever. And the 6 of us, however many there was, made those finals. And I remember, like, I was warming everybody up and talking them through the strategies for the workout. And Carl sort of came over and he was like, "Oh, you know, do you coach these guys?" And I was like, yeah. And he's like, "Oh, how many people do you coach?" I was like, "No, this is it. Like, I only coach these guys."
These guys.
Right. So you coach 6 people, and all 6 of them have qualified for here, made the quarters, made the semis, and I think all of us bar one, I think it was the year that Shelly hurt her knee, all of us made the final. It was like we like smashed it as a comp, and obviously something rung in his head that he knows what he's doing or whatever. I don't know. And he went off and set up the athlete program with Scott Panchik as the head programmer. And when his contract ran out, there was a conflict there. I think he was starting to do his own programming over in the States or whatever. Carl gave me a ring and he was just like, "I just remember you guys sort of doing pretty well, and you
did quite well.
On. Do you fancy taking over?" And I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty big organization. You're gonna have to buy us out." No, I was like, "Yeah, cool, let's go for it."
So was that something you kind of always planned, or did it just kind of just naturally happen?
Not at all. It was
just
always
training
like,
with your mates, and then
like MoveFit was just me. Like I charged a couple of guys that wanted to get in on it as it became a thing, but it was like, you know, there was like at its height, I think we had like 15 or 16 people on there paying like whatever it was, 20, 25 quid a month or whatever. And it was just like a bank transfer to me or PayPal or whatever to me. And I was I had a Facebook group and I put it up. This is what I'm doing today. Bang. Bang. And this is cool. And it was just my training. And that's how it sort of started. And like I never pushed it. I never advertised it. I never didn't really care, but it was just something that was like, that I was doing as a bit on the side, something I was really passionate about. And I really enjoy programming. Like, I love programming. I think it's such a cool thing to get into and just learn the sport, you know.
That must have went from what your 30 athletes, say, to 300
I think when I took over, the athlete program had like just under 200 or just over, is around that 200 mark, and God, we're up to like 700-800 athletes now.
That's cool.
Man,
that's cool.
Escalated quickly, that one.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, you mentioned Stuart a few times, and you guys have won Canaries Gone Bad.
Yeah.
So obviously, you got us a spot the first year we forced Harry and Greg to let us in. But that's cool. So talk us through. I was like scrolling through the Instagram depths of Instagram earlier. The melted hand.
Oh yeah, fuck. Good picture, innit?
Yeah. If anyone wants to see that, go.
Yeah, if you want to scroll through, got a couple of years worth of Instagram. Yeah, it's an interesting one. The smell wasn't much better, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, Canaries Gone Bad was awesome. Like that started out the first year that we went. Stu and I, we just wanted to go on a holiday, and we were like, oh, there's a competition away. Like that looks awesome. Let's go and do it. Let's have a laugh. And he'd have been there the year that you'd competed the first year. Big Juan, the big Argentinian guy that looked like he'd swallowed a bull.
Was he the boy with the mohawk? It's like a blonde mohawk.
Like absolute fucking beast of a guy. And he had a partner with him that year who was an individuals regionals competitor as well from Argentina, and they were like a proper legit pair of athletes.
Yeah.
And Juan actually is the godfather of Javi, who runs the competition's child. So they were like best mates. And there was it was like €1,500, something like that, prize money the first year we did it. And we realized that was the case because basically Juan wanted to give Javi wanted to give Juan €1,500. Basically, he's like, these guys are going to come and fucking smoke this comp. It's not going to be a problem. They'll batter everyone, and it's a chance for me to like sign my mate a check. And me and this old fucking bloke that looks like E.T. rocked up, and we ended up beating them. And they fucking hated us for it. We just like, and it was so close. Like, there's a photo. It still might be on my Facebook. It might be my picture with me with my arms out to the side.
Yeah,
that was the last deadlift when we beat them at Canaries Gone Bad in the first year. Because it literally went. We won an event. They came second. They won an event. We came second. It was first and second the whole way. And there'd been 6 events, and we'd won 3, they'd won 3, and we'd come second in 3, and they came second in 3. It's basically winner takes all in this final chipper, and we had to finish off with these 140 kilo deadlifts, and we pipped them, and that was like the moment. And we just thought, like, this is such a great holiday, such a great trip. Like, I've got to let people know about it, and that's when I spoke to you guys and Bemi and a lot of the guys from the gym, and you ended up bringing Amit and Naz and those guys. It just grew into such a cool comp for a couple of years where it was just an awesome atmosphere, but a legit competition as well, like tough workouts and all that other stuff. But it went off on a real tangent there, but the year with the hands was, I think it was the first year that Rob and Jordan did it, Rob Lawson and
because he had the same sort of.
They came out as Team Reebok and got stuck into it as well. And it was the event is done on like a 3G pitch, or like an AstroTurf pitch, at this massive training complex in Tenerife. And they had a workout that had handstand walking in it, and this was when they still did an RX and an elite category. And the RX lot just had normal handstand walking, and if you came down, you could just kick back up at any point. And they were cracking on with it, no problem. At like, I want to say like 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever. And the day goes on. And they then changed it for the elite category. And we actually had to do obstacle. It was the first event that I've ever done obstacles with handstand walking. So we had to go over like some like hurdles and around cones and all this other stuff, which was awesome. But we also had like, I think it was like, call it 25-foot segments that you had to finish that 25-foot unbroken. Otherwise you had to go back to the start of that as well. So they were pretty progressive. That was way before they put obstacles in regionals and all that other stuff. Which was cool. But by the time they'd set up all the obstacles and set everything out, it was like 12:30. It was like midday in Tenerife, like 30 plus degrees on this AstroTurf that had this like rubber crumb underneath it, black rubber crumb that was fucking roasting hot. And it started out with a load of GHDs, like it was like fucking 50 GHDs split between you or whatever, and then you go off into this handstand obstacle. And we've gone off, and I'm pretty good on my hands, and Stu's pretty good on his hands. So it's like, we're happy with this. This is going to be a good workout for us. So we crack over, and it's like 4 25-foot segments going up this football pitch. And we get through the first one. Stu goes and I go. Get through the second one, and my fucking hands are starting hurting, and I'm like fucking sore, right? And I look at my hands, and it's like starting to blister. And you know, it's like just bubbling a little bit, but it's like the skin's starting to come away, and it's right on like and by my thumb, and then both of my hands, they're still not the same color now. They're still a bit purple from it. It's like scarred. And I'm like, fucking hell, that's sore. And we do the third one, and I come down like halfway, and Stu, being Stu, is like, fucking get up, you semi. Like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, fuck, I never fail handstand walk. So I look at my hands, and it's just fucking like, it's like fucking, it's like sizzling fucking bacon. And Stu comes over, and I'm like, mate, my hands. And he looked, and like, he never gave me sympathy ever. And he looks at my hands, and he goes, fuck me, you haven't got to do it if you don't want to. Like, he was like properly like, oh shit. And I was like, well, fuck, they're gone now, so I might as well finish. So we finished the last segment, and I remember the guy coming over to sign the score sheet. And I was like, just get the fuck away from me. And I just ran and put my hands in some ice. And I remember being really apologetic to him afterwards, because I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to like have a go at you. But my fucking hands were literally like on fire. And like, so all the skin melted off my hands, and it was like fucking pretty gross. And to be fair, Rob Lawson was, a couple of people had it. A couple of people got pretty bad. But Rob was the only person that had it as bad as I did. He had it fucking really bad. And I remember us spraying each other with iodine because we couldn't do it to ourselves. It fucking hurt so much. And just like tears streaming down Rob's face, and me just fucking gritting my teeth so hard I nearly chipped a tooth. It was fucking hideous. And we had to compete the next day after that as well. Yeah. So I was like, they're like fucking Keith Lemon with my hands all taped up, trying to compete doing a fucking 3-rep max overhead squat the next day.
Class.
Remember, I think it was the year after that Bemi had but then that's the thing. So like, couldn't do a handstand walk, couldn't swim, still came third. I mean, James were like, what have we?
I was furious. Because me and Liam were at that time really good at, well, I say really good, we were good at handstand walks. Beating that workout, and then by then, I think it was Bemi and Tom.
Tom Daly.
But I'm sitting there watching them, and he's just like chucking himself and like wheelbarrowing and coming down.
Literally. Like, I told him to do that. I was like, if you haven't got to worry about how far you go, just fucking kick and go as hard as you can for 3 steps, and then your mate can just crack on.
I turned to Liam and I'm like, what's the fucking point?
I'm watching like, okay, that's interesting. And I just heard James just like so upset, like, you try and do things properly.
I could see him like fucking Eeyore, like just like,
oh bother, gutted. And then he couldn't swim, and then he was like standing on the podium.
That story of him in that fucking pool, right, is gonna be my speech at his wedding. Even if I'm not fucking best man, I'm gonna get up and tell that fucking story. The guy just fucking blah 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 blah, like, and then suddenly the thing that he thinks is heavy weighing him down just floats off, and it's actually he'd have been better off hanging on to it.
Because like that's the worst experience of a workout I've ever had, I think.
That big can thing.
I don't know if you remember when we done it, but I ended up taking the real heavy one because Liam couldn't really swim at that.
Yeah, I was fucking taking that thing.
I was like, I'll swim it, and I just floated to the bottom of the pool. And this was like, we were in one of those real early heats.
Yeah.
And I ended up just like bouncing.
Like bunny hop,
and my little face just popped up out the water, like trying to get a breath, and then fucking float back down again and be like, this is a nightmare. And then
go on,
I watched all the
was the Russian guys that year, right?
Yeah, the two. Well, the one of them got popped that year. And it's fucking no surprise the guy looked like fucking He-Man. Fucking squat clean thrusted like 150 kilos. Absolute freak. But yeah, like that was crazy because I remember we worked really hard with Bemi leading into that comp. We had Operation Black Dolphin, where we were like took him to the swim because he lived with me at the time. So we were like taking him to the swimming pool like once or twice a week, and like literally like when I first said to him to sign up for the comp, I was like, "Can you swim?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, of course I can. And he like jumps in this water with me the first time I took him swimming, and the lifeguard, I've never seen it at a fucking public pool before, got on all fucking haunches ready to dive in after, like as soon as he got in. because like the guy can't swim, right?
Yeah.
He fights water and doesn't drown. That's him thinking he can swim. And so we worked really hard with him and got like fucking 2 or 3 weeks worth of swimming, or maybe a bit more than that. It might have been like 6 weeks worth of swimming. And the first time he ever swam 50 meters unbroken without like having to stop or touch the side or whatever was in Tenerife.
Oh,
Like, yeah, we've managed to get him 50 meters. Amazing. I was like, mate, you're golden. If there's swimming coming up now, at least you know you can do it. And then they turn around and go, yeah, you got to do it with weights. And he just looks at me like, you bastard. I was like, it's not my fault.
yeah. I didn't write it.
They just fucking stitched him right up.
No, like
That is what happened to Naz. We almost had to do the same thing with Naz. So like, Naz can't swim.
class.
So we get him there. And everyone, like, teacher would go, boom, everyone dives in. Naz, like, sits on the edge. Slides in. He's, like, pulling himself along the lane separators. And then the worst thing was, that was the year they, like, I'm sure they filmed, they had it, like, live stream.
Oh, yeah.
So 2 years ago, I think. And they're like, at the end, we were all, like, screaming out, like, go on, Naz. And he's like, the worst thing about it was, because we were shouting at him so much, everyone else knew his name. So he was like, wait a minute, there's like 3 people screaming on me. Wait, no, now everyone's like, and then he gets to the end, makes one length, and the whole place is like, yeah. The camera boys got him. He's like, fuck off.
Oh, mate.
Class.
Like the guy when Bemi did it, and the guy actually had to dive in and try to fucking save him and rescue him. And then like, fair play, right? Like after that, he gets fucking bailed out, and then he goes in and does it again, right?
Yeah.
He goes for the second one, but he'll never ever leave me. Is when he just jumps in the second time, and he's like bobs to the bottom of the water, and you just see the bubbles coming up, and he springs up to the top of the water. His face just comes up, and he's like, stop fucking looking at me. It goes back underwater, blah, 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 bounces back up, and fucking help me. And just screams for this guy to fucking help him in like 2 stages while he's drowned. Oh my God. And at the time, like, we were all like semi-concerned, but as soon as he got out safe, I was crying, laughing, like, and he wouldn't have it any other way, but I was fucking in pieces. My old man was there at the time, crying, laughing. It was so funny.
Because that was like the year he was on the podium. We were like, obviously, at the end, everyone's drinking their beers. And then they're on the podium, and Benny turns around and he's like, I can't even swim. How did you get on there? That's good. But that was the year, that wasn't the same year as Tom done his ankle, was it? No,
that was the year after.
The
year after, when we had to go up and over the wall and all that sort of stuff, wasn't it?
That's our claim to fame of beating Rob and Jordan in one workout ever. Never again, never before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because George he couldn't get the sandbag over the top.
Couldn't go
fucking short. Yeah, fuck.
That's like when we walked past, and he was like, I just couldn't get over to Rob. He's like, I just couldn't get the bag over the wall. And Rob was like, well, you fucking watched Liam do it. That was class.
Oh yeah, that's when I had like the slow cap, because I had to swim with Stuart Trees, and it was like fucking 400 meters worth of swimming. And he's like an ex-Commonwealth 6th place swimmer or whatever. And he's like, it's the only time I've ever apologized to somebody on my team in a workout. Like, I was like halfway through, and I'm like getting out of the water, and I'm like, I'm sorry. And he just looked at me like, and he's like so frustrated, because he's just like literally doing doggy paddle, and I can't keep up with him. I'm just like, you bastard. Like, I thought that was going to be the end. I thought that was me. The day I die was fucking trying to keep up with that bastard in a swimming pool.
Class. Yeah, cool. So that's pretty much everything I had done here. What's next for you? First off, as, let's say, an athlete, what's going on with the team?
So we don't know is the answer, like in terms of obviously how things are going to go, how things are going to pan out. We've pretty resigned to the fact that obviously there's no games for the teams, but I'm fairly sure that if they haven't already, then all of the sanctionals are going to be cancelled. So like we qualified for Egypt. We're supposed to be doing that one. That hasn't officially been cancelled yet, but I'm sure it will be. So we're looking already to 2021 season. And we'll just try and do the same. Like hopefully, I think we've got a pretty solid set of 4 where we've got the logistics sort of nailed on now, that we're all a little bit closer together, so we can train a bit more together. And like more of the same. I think hopefully get one rung higher up on the podium. But we'll sit down and look at the dates when they get released and just sort of plan probably 4 events that we want to attack, and then maybe have one in the back pocket just in case we need it. Lay out the logistics and try and sort out the sponsorship side of things, and yeah, way to go. That'll hopefully be it. I'd imagine we'll probably do Filthy 150, and probably do strength in depth because of the logistically speaking, it's just easier to do. But equally, you know, we qualified for strength in depth this year, and then they announced that Froning was doing it when Norway was 2 weeks later. There was no point. If they'd been 6 weeks apart, we'd have done it 100%, and that'd have been cool. But you know, we didn't want to put our eggs in one basket and then end up fucking up the other one. You know.
Would you consider? Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Would you consider? I know Froning's doing a team thing.
So he's looking at doing a comp for that. Like the thing that in my head is that we don't know what that's going to look like in terms of a qualifier. So Alec has got massively limited kit at the moment. Charlotte has got limited kit. I've got most stuff that I need, but I haven't got any ring setups. So say ring setups came up, and I haven't got any space to do like walking lunges or handstand walking or anything like that. Maddie owns her gym, so I'm sure she could go to the gym if she wanted to, but she's not doing that much at the moment. So it depends on what that looks like. You know, I'd much rather get an invite. Rich, if you're listening, you know, I'm a good guy.
We'll tag him.
Yeah, we'll have a beer. I think I think if we don't get an invite, we might enter it and look at it, but it's probably a no. I think we'll probably end up just seeing what the plan is for next season.
Save it,
yeah. So remember you saying that with obviously the new sort of layout, that with just the way that the events had gone, that you were struggling with like trying to stay at peak fitness for each. Yeah, because it was like 6 weeks in between each time.
Yeah, so one of the things we did when we picked them last year was we wanted to pick a minimum of 6 weeks between the events so that we could have a little taper. We could have a decent, you know, maybe 4, 5, 6, maybe even 8 week training block where we can focus on getting a bit better and then peak for that competition. The problem that we had is that the only one we didn't do that for was China, because it was so close to Filthy 150, and we didn't realize, but we qualified joint first for that, and we were like, well, we've just got to try and take that opportunity. But you know, I was hanging in China. I was hanging out because we'd done the Open. Filthy 150 was like the week after the Open, or 10 days or whatever after the Open finished, and then China was like 2 weeks after that. And it's like I was trying to hold that peak for like 8 weeks, and I was fucking dying. Like I was literally ready to like call the season quits there. I was like, I'm done. And literally just the other side of Christmas then, only took 2 weeks of just like chilling out and whatever. And I was like, and Charlotte was exactly the same as well. Like, and about 2 weeks later, we were just like, cool, should we do the next one anyhow? Good to go. You're like, yeah, we're good to go. We just needed that break. And that's been cool this year, is learning about that. And it's not stuff that we didn't necessarily know, but also knowing how it feels.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
what do you think you need to take that like next step, the rung, like on the ladder?
Beat another team that's better than us.
Well, yeah.
No, I think from our point of view, certainly like Filthy 150 and like even Sid, the first Sid that we picked, but Sid, Filthy 150 and Norway, those 3 performances were 3 performances I'm really proud of in terms of like we showed up to those events and we put out some really good performances across the board. I mean, even Filthy 150, we stuck to our game plan. We did really, really well. And people were like, oh, you must have been disappointed with the fact that you were first after the first 2 days and then you dropped down in the 3rd day. But if the events had been in a different order, we'd have been ecstatic to climb up to where we did, because it just the events didn't suit us as well on that 3rd day. And if anything, we rolled the dice a little bit more strategically because we were in the position we were in, and it just didn't pay off. But we performed really, really well that weekend. In Norway, we performed so well, and it's like it's not like we've been beaten by nobodies. Like they're fucking good teams, super teams that are beating us. You know, Ron Wad that beat us in Filthy 150. You know, they got 3 individual games athletes in that team. You know, they just missed out on the games last year because they lost to Mayhem Independence in the French Throwdown by like a point. And the program team that beat us in Norway has got 1 games individual, 2 games team athletes that are all like legit
decent
pushing
level,
for that sort of level. So these teams are like, they're not easy to beat, right? For us, I think it's just a matter of tying up those little knots, like in terms of the little things in performances where maybe we could have got 3rd instead of 4th on our weakest event or whatever. Like I spoke to Charlotte after Norway because she was disappointed because of how close we came, and I thought me and Alec were not so disappointed because of how well we performed. I think we did everything we could, sort of thing. And I sort of looked through our stats, and you know what, I'll see if I can find it. It'll take 2 seconds. Just chat amongst yourselves for 2 seconds. I know, it doesn't matter. But I looked through it. It was something like in the four sanctionals that we'd done. Say there was average 7 in an event. Say there's 28 workouts. Like the worst place we've ever come is 8th in a workout. Like we've never come outside the top 10 in a workout.
So,
like we've only come outside the top 5 in a workout like 3 times. We've come 3rd, 2nd or 3rd in like 19. It was like a joke. It was like a joke. These stats. I was like, if we can just knock those 8ths or those 7ths or those 60s at one spot, and we keep doing what we're doing. Like I think Tommy Marquez said to us at the end of Norway, he was like, you know, whatever you do, don't stop, because it's not a matter of if, it's when.
It's when.
And I think, like, you know, obviously there's going to be teams that are always going to be there, and like your Mayhems and your Invictuses and teams like that are always going to be tough to beat. And if you're coming up against those guys, everything's going to have to go perfectly. But you know, I'd like to think that our plan is to be one of those teams that when they see us taking the floor, they're thinking, fuck, I don't want to compete against them. And if we can do that, then we're knocking on the door, right?
But it's that thing as well, is like you said, like when you guys get there, it's not as if you're going to show up and just make up the numbers. Like you're going to be there, you're going to perform. And
I think so. I think, and that, again, that's something that Tommy said to us as well, is that you know, you're going to get people. There will always be, the way that the sanctional season is at the moment, there will be the odd team that almost flukes it a little bit, or just they went to the right one when nobody, you know, we didn't do that. We didn't pick and choose. We didn't pick and choose because they were weaker, other than the fact that we decided to go to Panland because it was probably a little bit weaker. But there were still 3 good teams in that comp, you know, that any one of the 3 of us could have probably won it. But I think if we'd had made the games this year and there was however many, 24, 25 teams there, you know, I'd be really disappointed if we went top half. You know, I don't want to go there and I don't enter competitions to not try and win them, not starters. But also I think we're good enough in that we haven't got the weaknesses that lots of teams have across the board. Like there's lots and lots of teams, and team competitions, especially teams of 4, more so even than pairs. It's all about your weakest link, right? So 9 times out of 10, that's me in our team. And like I'm the fucking handbrake.
I don't think that feels.
And it's like it's always the handsome one, don't worry. Like but like the way that I put it is like, if I'm the weakest link in this workout, like we've got a pretty good team. If I'm the one that's struggling, and then the whole point is that I need to cross that line as fast as I can possibly cross it, so that we have the best possible score. And I think when those workouts come along, our weakest link, our strongest links might not be stronger than the strongest teams, but our weakest link is stronger. And if the programming is true and the workouts are programmed properly, the team with the least weakest links will come towards the top.
That's cool. That's cool.
Cool. That's it's an exciting next season. Whenever it is.
Whatever that looks like.
Yeah. What about as a coach? What's next for you as a coach?
Keep doing what we're doing. You know, I'm you know, the guys that I'm working with are doing extremely well. Like, obviously, a lot of them are really disappointed in terms of the way that this season has panned out. That we're, you know, heading to the games.
Yeah.
You know, we've got 8-9 athletes now not going to the games. That would have been that have had that ticket sort of taken off them.
Yeah.
So from a mental point of view, it's making sure that those guys are switched on and understanding that just because it didn't happen this year doesn't mean it's not going to happen next year. And building and improving from that. And I was lucky enough to get 5 people to the games last year, and to get 9 to 10 people to the games this year. The goal is to get some more. Like, I'm working individually with 28 athletes, yourself included, big man. And my goal is to get as many of those guys to the games as I possibly can.
Yeah.
And then, you know, the guys that aren't at that level, it's to get them as good as they can get, like whatever their goals are. You know, you tell me you want to go and win Battle for the Middle Ground, or you want to go and win a European champs, or whatever that looks like. And it's my job to give you the tools to do that, right?
Yeah, that's cool. Sounds good. It's always progress. That's cool.
Yeah, just get better. Just
get better.
Try and get people as good as they can get.
Yeah, sweet. So that pretty much covers everything I had written down.
Yeah.
What about you?
Nah, I think you've covered most of it.
So
I think
we're
good.
I probably talked your ears off.
Instagram. No, we got some Instagram questions coming in. Now, these normally all come from the same people. If not person.
Tell me it's not fucking Stu.
No,
I was gonna say.
You didn't give me one.
Oh, good, because like when I do a question and answers every Sunday on my fucking Instagram.
Yeah.
And every Sunday, right, I get like, I don't know, like 30 or 40 questions on a Sunday, right? And then if he's bored, which is I'll get like 10 from him, and most of them are about my mum, me swimming, tequila, and shit that he knows that I fucking don't like. And he literally just, you could see him just chuckling to his little fucking grey-haired self. Like, yeah.
Class.
So, randomly, I'm trying to get some of these right. The randomly, do you have a best book recommendation that you've?
Yeah, so like I've been listening to books all the way through the lockdown. Like, I love listening, and I listen to them rather than reading. I'm not a big reader, but enjoy like listening to them when I'm driving. God, there's a ton of really good ones that 2 that spring to mind are The Chimp Paradox, Stephen Peters, which is all about like mindset and how you sort of manage your own mind. And then taking that a little step further, one that I listened to really recently, like 2 books ago, is called The Brave Athlete, which is by 2 sports psychologists who are triathletes, and they sort of take a lot of the stuff from the Chimp Paradox and then apply that to athletes. And it's really good. Like, they talk about, you know, how you shouldn't worry about Facebook and Instagram, and how you shouldn't worry about feeling fat. We all have those days. So it's quite like quite specific to the athletic side of things. And that's The Brave Athlete by Simon Marshall and Leslie Patterson. That's a really good book.
Cool, sweet. So this one, who has been your least athletic training partner, and why is it Bemi?
So true. Do you know what? Like, this is the joke. The guys he's actually a fucking freak athlete.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that dude. So me and Bemi played rugby together back in the day, back in the old days. And he is fucking fast. Like, one of the fastest people I've ever seen on 2 legs. Now, Tom Daly, who is his partner in Canaries, is fast. And Bemi makes him look slow. Bemi's quick, and he's a big lump as well. So you see like things like power cleans and stuff like that, and he's just fucking powerful, athletic bastard. But you give him a couple of burpees, mate, and just the guy's just got like an engine like a ride-on lawnmower, and he doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's just like, nah, I'm not doing that. Okay. Like, that hurts too much. I'm out.
I'm done.
Class.
So this is close to one that you ask on your quickfire 10 that you ask you guys. Yeah. So, would you rather fight a James-sized Liam or 5 Liam-sized Jameses?
I got this one so wrong. Like, I could not get this right at all.
A James-sized Liam.
Mm-hmm. So me, Jamesy size, or 5 Jamesy my size.
Oh, mate. Like, if he's your like size, he's going to be all ninja and shit, bouncing off walls and fucking fly kicking me, and I wouldn't even see it coming. And if there was 5 of him, I just want to give him a cuddle. Little Jamesies, like the fucking teddy bears. I just want to fucking, yeah.
That's good. I didn't expect that.
That's the best answer.
Jamesy sat last night when I asked him, and he was just like,
fuck me.
Right, so there's one of me and 5 of me, or
me.
there's one of you and 5. I was like,
5
no.
of
It's not that hard.
And then we sorted it all out, and then I was like, so there's 5 of you and 1 of you. My size.
I was like, moving on. So this one, do you see yourself teaming up with Furious Naz to compete in the future?
Do you know what? I would never say never to anything in terms of like competing with stuff. Like, so we had a girl that I coached, who's actually gone up to the Middle East as a CrossFit coach now, but this was way back when she was first competing, and I was PTing her, and she wanted to do a competition, and I said, look, if you want to do a comp and you're worried about it, and I'll do it with you. Like, we ended up doing a mixed pairs comp, only a little local one, little throwdown or whatever. And I think we ended up coming like 3rd or something. But everyone was like, oh, you must be so disappointed you didn't win. I was like, no, mate, it's surface. And I was like, I'll do it with you, but one thing I'm going to say is I'm not going to do it for you. So like, I'll do half the work and you do half the work. I'll do my half as fast as I can fucking do it, and I'll lift it as well as I can, but I'm not doing more than half the work. And so I'm like more than happy to. I'll throw down with anyone. I'd fucking love to be in a team of you two boys.
Well, so that was the next question. Someone asked, are you going to lend a hand to Team Juicy Ninja in the IOQs?
Mate, yeah. If you want my scores, if it means you get into a sanctional, I'll happily help you.
Sign them up. That's a tick. If you had to be the special guest referee and there was a fight between Alec and the baddest man in the north, Ali, who are you putting your money on?
Oh, fuck it. That's a great question. Ali has got the long levers, right?
Yeah.
And he hasn't got the good looks to worry about protecting.
He's got that reach, and
he's got that reach, yeah. And he looks like a cave troll from Harry Potter. So it's like, he's just got the intimidation factor. Alec, I think, is just he's a bit too good looking. So I think Alec's got more to lose in that fight. He's going to go out there a little bit more defensive, So I'll give it to my Celtic brother.
There we go. We had one that you probably answered already. Was how good were you at rugby?
Average.
So
I was horrible. Yeah, I played semi-pro. I was like fringe pro. Like made a bit of money. Bemi will always say that I made a career out of bankrupting clubs. Just towards the end of my career, but which we didn't know was the end of my career at the time. I was a bit of a mercenary and just went around wherever was paying better money.
Class.
But I was horrible. Honestly, I was fucking horrible. Like, I wouldn't have wanted to play again. I was just a horrible bastard.
Yeah,
dirty, horrible bastard. And one of the guys who was a captain for one of the teams I used to play for turned around and said that I had the highest punch to card ratio he's ever seen. Like, you just never got caught. I just used to get away with fucking horrible shit all the time. But yeah, I was just an angry, horrible person. Yeah, I made a career out of being a fucking punch bag, basically.
There we go. Whoa, cool. We have. Will you come to Scotland for a lads' weekend with Juicy Ninja and Co?
Oh mate, I'd love to. That's not even I wouldn't even take a second to think about that.
Boom. Class. And then the last one that Jamesy was going to ask was, what's your go-to beer if that situation comes up?
Yeah, do you know what? I don't drink as much beer as I used to. I used to be a big beer drinker. Yeah. I drink cider now.
Oh,
so
I just turn your computer.
Turn it off.
Yeah, I've done it. But like, I love Guinness. I love Guinness and black as well, which is sacrilege if you're Irish. But like, Guinness. Yeah,
we'd seen you. I've never really had
that. That killed me. It fucking said like.
Yeah, we've seen you guys. We were like, "What's going on? You let us try it." Like, I've never been a big fan of it. I never really had like a full pint, so maybe I can't really say I'm not a fan of it. But you guys were doing that. Yeah,
cool. like a Guinness. So beer is Guinness and black, but then I like a bit gay, but I like fruit cider. So like It's just fucking
Well,
easy to neck, innit?
Yeah.
I mean, we're only making fun of you because you're like still in Wales and we're up.
Yeah, you're not actually here, so it's fine.
Like I can do a brew dog, like I like I like a dead pony, and like this, but it's like some of them are just like, it's become the whole IPA thing. It's just become so fucking like what's it, like, not hippie, but do you know what I mean? It's all a little bit like fucking.
It's the I know what you mean.
Pretentious.
Yeah.
Like Stu loves a beer, and like I'll have a beer with Stu, and I'm like, yeah, that's nice, but I don't think, like, for me, like, if I'm gonna go out and have a fucking drink, I'm gonna have a drink. Like, I'm going out for 10 pints. I'm not going out for like 1 or 2.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think a lot of those like IPA type things are quite like, they're 1 or 2s, like that you can't, and that's the point of them, right? They're like session ales. I can't see myself sinking 5-6 pints of it and just getting sick of it.
Yeah.
So I think like I can drink Guinness all night, no problem, and I can drink cider all night, no problem. So I'll drink one of those.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we've heard some stories. You're like your last man standing stuff at Rob Lawson's wedding.
Oh yeah, fuck. Yeah, taking all the CrossFit seminar staff through fucking games of Commander Says and stuff.
Yeah. Good lad. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. Unless you have anything you want to tell anyone about.
No, mate, it's been a fucking pleasure. It's just been nice to catch up with the boys.
Yeah, thank you.
Sorry for swearing so much.
Nah, it happens. We got in trouble for that in the
first one. Mainly.
Oh, really?
I swear fucking way too much.
Yeah, that was the first start of it. Was like, we need a name for this, and then we ended up just coming up with the name that we called it. And
I think my first line with the podcast, my first ever podcast, it was like, most of the names are fucking shite.
Yeah, I've listened to it.
I'm listening to it. He's like, we had like one of the kids that come to the box. They live like 2 doors over there. And she's like, yeah, Ennis is just in there gonna listen to your podcast, but I had to go through and like beep everything out, and it sounds like Morse code because you guys swear all the time.
Brilliant.
Like, nah, he's gonna learn anyway.
That's
mate. No, it's been great to catch up with you, and like, you know, to all the thousands of listeners, thanks for taking the time to sit through it with us, and and I'm looking forward to having our catch up once social distancing allows.
Yeah.
Catch up, and I'll 100% I'll get on a flight and get up there because I need to see Ali anyway. So we'll make a weekend of it.
Sounds good to me. Cheers, dude. Thank you.
Nah, thanks
no
a lot.
problem at all, mate. No problem.